Welcome to the Explainer. So, how do you actually get a kid to sit still and learn about something like biology or physics? Well, it turns out the answer might not be a lecture, it's a choice. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a kids' show script to figure out the brilliant method it uses to make science absolutely irresistible.
Okay, let's just dive right in with a question that seems simple, but really isn't. Gills or wings? It feels like a fun little game, but your brain is already doing something pretty amazing. You're weighing the pros and cons, imagining these totally different worlds. You're even thinking about the consequences. Without even realizing it, you've just started thinking like a scientist.
See, this is about way more than just picking a superpower. It's about choosing an entire ecosystem, a whole new lifestyle, a different set of biological rules to live by. And this simple question is the hook for a really powerful educational format that ditches the boring lectures for these super engaging dilemmas.
So where does this brilliant idea come from? Well, the script we're breaking down today is from an animated kids show called SparkQuarkKids, and its entire reason for being is built around these wild would-you-rather scenarios that secretly, or not so secretly, teach core science concepts. And this right here gets to the absolute heart of the strategy. This script isn't just about broadcasting information at you. No, it's about transforming you, the viewer, from just a passive audience member into an active participant, a decision maker in your very own learning journey. Okay, so that's the big idea. But how does this actually work in practice? Let's break down the simple, repeatable formula the show uses to grab and hold a young audience's attention so well. You know, it all follows the simple, super high-energy three-step loop. First, they pose a wild, almost ridiculous choice. Then, step 2, they get the viewer to actually pause and pick a side. And finally, step 3, they subtly connect it all back to a real science concept. It's this powerful cycle that's just designed for maximum engagement. And the host persona is absolutely crucial here. The script uses this really playful, energetic language, calling the audience choice champions, and that creates this whole atmosphere of fun and competition. The key is that it feels like a game, not like a classroom. And make no mistake, these choices are anything but random. They are so carefully designed to hit all the right notes for kids. You've got a mix of cool superpowers, some slightly gross-out scenarios, and some genuinely thought-provoking scientific ideas that just keep them hooked. All right, so it's fun, it's engaging, but let's look at how this all builds into something much, much deeper than just a game. This isn't just entertainment, it's a really carefully crafted teaching tool. Now this is what I find so clever. The script isn't trying to hide its mission, it straight up tells the audience why they're doing this. It frames the whole thing as science think, and it validates their thought process, whether they're choosing based on pure survival or just what sounds like the most fun. This entire format is a perfect application of a concept called active learning. I mean, there's decades of research that shows when you actively participate in figuring something out, you understand it so much more deeply and remember it for way longer than if you just sit there and listen to a lecture. So by forcing a choice between, let's say, super strength and invisibility, the show is cleverly making kids exercise all of these crucial analytical skills. You have to weigh the pros and cons, you have to consider the physics of each power, and you even have to touch on the ethics of your choice. So really, each dilemma is like a Trojan horse. It looks like a fun choice on the outside, but what it's really doing is smuggling in this rich mix of science and values. It gets kids to engage with biology, physics, and ethics before they even know what's happening. And when you kind of zoom out, you start to see that this isn't just about a clever script for one kid's show. This might actually be a model for how education itself is evolving in our digital age. I mean, for generations, this was the standard model, right? An expert stands at the front of the room, presents facts, and the student's job is just to absorb them. The information pretty much flowed in one direction. But this whole dilemma-based learning idea, it just flips that model on its head completely. It puts the learner in the driver's seat. It makes them the hero of their own educational story. Learning becomes an act of discovery, not just reception. The pacing is also key here. The script just fires off 15 of these dilemmas in a single short video. This kind of rapid-fire approach creates a gamified experience that keeps the energy really high and just prevents boredom from ever setting in. And the learning doesn't stop when the video ends. The script uses these really powerful calls to action. Comment on your picks, debate them with your friends, subscribe for more. It's not just making a show, it's building an entire community around the idea of scientific debate. And that really brings us to the ultimate takeaway. This question on the screen, it kind of says it all, doesn't it? When you reframe education not as a task you have to complete, but as a compelling choice you get to make, learning itself becomes irresistible.